The wire I am using today is a white cloth-covered wire purchased in the wedding section of any large arts and crafts store. The formula for determining the length of the wire you will need is 8 times the length of your doll. So starting with the push mold that's already filled with clay, here's the cloth-covered wire. You're going to count out 8 lengths of your doll. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh dear, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you'll snip off the wire at this point. Now we're going to start working with the ends of the wire first. So the first thing you're going to do is take the end and measure from the bottom of your foot up to the hip area and add about 3/4 of an inch. Fold the wire over on itself and twist up to the end. And you go to the other end of the wire and you're going to do the same thing on the other leg. You measure up from the toes to the hip and you add 3/4 of an inch, fold it over on itself and twist up to the end. I find the cloth covered wire grabs the clay. Okay, now you have your 2 legs. Now, straighten out the big loop underneath your legs. I like to get the kinks out there. And you want to mark the center point. Just crease it or give it a little dent. And you're going to take a simple toothpick. You're going to go back to your hip area on the mold. And you're going to measure your hip area and break off the toothpick. You want it to be slightly smaller than the hip so it doesn't stick out the side. Then coming down to the end of your twisted legs, you're going to lay your toothpick down and wind your legs around so that you have some space in between the legs. And then you go down and get the center point of your loop and you bring it up and you put it between the doll's legs, the armature legs, and you stretch out your 2 loops. You grab it down by the toothpick section, holding it pretty tight, and you separate your loops and get a good grip on them. And you're going to wind them. So you're going to be winding the 2 loops, creating 4 pieces of wire for a nice strong spine. And you wind it tightly up. You eyeball it to the point where you think you're up in the arm section. I like to use the back of the mold. Let me get this guy out of the way. Okay, so you measure from your hip area and you keep winding until you get up to the T section up there between the torso and the arms. Now once you get up there, you're going to separate your 2 bunny ears and you're going to open up your big loops and you're going to divide it in half and put 1 loop up towards the top. You're going to come to the other side, divide it in half and put the 1 loop up to the top, and you're going to take the 2 top loops and twist those together, and this is going to give you a nice strong neck area. Now for the tiniest dolls you might want to cut these so that you only have 2 wires. but for 5-inch dolls the 4 wires is fine. Now at this point I find that the wire starts to rebel a little bit, so I cut these to release some of the tension, and it makes it easier to twist. So you're going to twist your arms down. You're only going to need the 2 pieces of wire here. You want it to be thin in the arm section. Now while I'm twisting this, I'll just say that this armature I'm going to be demonstrating is for my system of doll making, and I like to make the dolls in parts. The head, the torso, and the legs in one unit, and the arms are attached separately, sometimes even just the legs. So if you like to make your dolls all in one piece, you'll just follow these instructions and add the wire to your arms as well. So when you come to the end of your twisting here, you're going to go back and measure to make sure it fits, and you're going to align it. And as you're aligning it, you want to align it into the dead center of each cavity. And you're going to lean it into the clay to create indentation marks, so that you can get the wire into the exact center of each body part. Now if the wire is too long like it is here, you just lift it up and snip it off. Then you take your dental tool. If you don't have this, you can use something else similar to it, and you're going to be scraping out a little channel to put your armature in. You remove just a little teeny bit of clay to make room for it, and this way you'll be assured that your wire stays in the dead center of each of the body parts. Just like that. Then you'll add back the armature, putting it into the channel. And once it's back in the channels, you can come back and put little tiny bits of clay in strategic areas, like down in the calf area, and in the hip area, and in the T upper section, and that'll hold it in while you're putting the doll together. Now once again, if you like to make your dolls all in one unit, you'll just do the same thing along the arms, and then you'll follow the instructions for removing the doll from the mold.